Will Sathankulam verdict change policing in Tamil Nadu? Rather brutal policing, let me add. Now, after more than 5 years, one of Tamil Nadu's most shocking custodial death cases, a court has delivered a landmark verdict. According to several people, it is landmark, a watershed moment, as it were. A sessions court sentenced 9 policemen to death for the custodial torture and killing of a father and son. The Sathankulam case, calling it a case of extreme abuse of authority. The victims, P. Jayaraj and his son, J. Bennix, were picked up by police on the night of 19 June 2020, allegedly for violating COVID lockdown rules, which was of course proven false later. Within 4 days, both were dead. What followed was national outrage, brutality. It was so brutal that it would set your teeth on edge. Protests across Tamil Nadu and comparisons to the George Floyd case in the United States. Now, after more than 5 years of investigation and trial, the court has described the killings as rarest of rare custodial brutality. The court observed that the father and son were stripped and ruthlessly assaulted, adding that the details of the attack were extremely disturbing. Many eyewitnesses and family members said that Jayaraj was first taken to the Sathankulam police station. When Bennix reached the station to question the assault on his father, he was also detained and allegedly beaten all through the night. Witnesses reported hearing screams from inside the police station. Later testimony, including that of a one constable, pointed to bloodstains on tables and lathis inside the station. The CBI, which took over the probe following directions from the Madras High Court, concluded that the 2 men were subjected to sustained custodial torture. Bennix passed on 22nd of June, Jayaraj the next day. Their deaths triggered statewide protests and forced judicial intervention. Now, the thing is, the question that we are asking is that will this reset the brutality when it comes to custodial deaths in Tamil Nadu? Because after that, there have been several cases. Those are the pictures of all the policemen who have been. One of them, of course, passed because of COVID, they said, but those are the men. Those are the men. And I'm not trying to sit on judgment. I'm not a court. But those are the men who must today sit and think as to why is it that they were so cruel to Bennix and Jayaraj. Henry Tiffin has joined us. He's advocate Madras High Court, and Charlene Maria Lawrence, who's a very well-known author and social activist and works with the community very closely. I want to first go to Henry, sir. Henry, sir, do you think a watershed moment? Do you think this will in some way reset the brutality which has now permeated policing in Tamil Nadu?
Well, I want to be honest. I don't think police brutality will be lessened just because of a trial court's judgment and with a death sentence that has been come. I watched the proceedings inside court yesterday. What was most important was to know that the victims, the family of Jayaraj and Bennix, were sitting in the first row. And they were listening to the judge's sentencing that was going on for almost 1 hour. And the accused were on the other side. And what is important is to know that this is a trial court's judgment. It is not a high court or a Supreme Court. It's a trial court which has come forth for almost 1 hour reading out his entire piece on what torture is, why torture should not exist, etc., etc. This alone is not going to matter, is what I'm saying today assertively. We have been accompanying these victims from the day the death occurred on behalf of the Joint Action Against Custodial Torture. And I want to remind you that following this, from 2021 till today, we have had 26 custodial deaths that have taken place in Tamil Nadu. What has changed? Nothing has changed. George Floyd's case of torture has been mentioned by this judge during the sentencing. So has he also mentioned the Madappuram Tirupovanam custodial death of Ajit Kumar as well. Therefore, a judgment alone is not going to set the record straight in Tamil Nadu. It is a policy by the government. It is a determination by governments who are all now, various political parties are on the street. It is they who have to determine and take a stand that policing will be controlled. If they don't take a stand, our fight will have to continue. We cannot rely only on court judgments for things to change. I'm sorry, I'm sounding pessimistic, but that is the reality.
No, sir,
And
you
I'm
are, I mean, you are an expert. Yes, sir, before I go to Charlene, I want to also ask you, sir, that you're right. I mean, there has to be a policy, but India does not have a standalone law against torture, despite we having signed the UN Convention against torture. So, how do we go forward, sir?
Well, I'm party to this campaign for many years altogether. From 1997, we have signed. There have been four UPRs, Universal Periodic Review recommendations that have come to the government of India. Nothing has happened. My government in Tamil Nadu says it is a social justice government. And if it is a social justice government, the minimum a social justice government should do, and they want to do things differently, should have been to come out with a standalone law for the state of Tamil Nadu. That should have been done. Mr. Stalin has not done that. Nobody has in their manifesto ever come forth and said, we will have a standalone law preventing torture in Tamil Nadu. Why? Why can't they do it? This can always be done. If you can have a policy against NEET in Tamil Nadu, you can have various state policies on various other subjects. Why can't you have something on torture? So I don't think this whole thing of just saying we wait for the UN convention to be ratified, that doesn't work. That is for the government of India. The government of Tamil Nadu could have done it. The government of Tamil Nadu has not done it, and that is where I hold the government responsible.
Charlene, I want to ask you that it is the brutality actually crossed all limits. So it is not just the policemen, Charlene, it is also the doctors. The father and son, Jayaraj and Bennix, they had some injuries on, on their pelvic area. Apparently that was ignored. Similarly, there are many custodial death victims who are beaten to pulp, but the doctors don't take cognizance of it. Maybe the police are trying to be more loyal than the king. Maybe the police allegedly are have some casteist kind of nonsense in their heads. But even doctors, what is it? I'm so scared that it seems like a gang. It's like a cabal. They are all in it together. Charlene, Maria Lawrence.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying to news channels from yesterday, that the state exploits the psychosadistic nature of the police. The state of Tamil Nadu has been very, so much of a police state. Never mind who's in power, ADMK or DMK, it's been a police state. And, the police, I would like to refer here the Stanford prison experiment, because I studied social psychology, and that's a very important part of torture, and how uniform authority, weapon in their hands, and some free pass to go ahead and, hit the victims gives them so much of gruesome, mentality to go ahead and, do some grotesque things to the victims, especially the innocence or not. But this is what happens behind the bars, behind inside the police stations. So what happens is, the police state the Tamil Nadu police is in a very sadistic behavior. They have a very pathological. I will not call it pathological, but it's a conditioned behavior. And then the political parties make use of it. The political parties need the system to be very, like this. They want it to be, a torture. They want the victims to be tortured. They want the people to fear the police. It's not a judiciary targeted, law we are looking at. We are mostly looking at police punishment, targeted kind of law. So obviously, I would say, Stalin, especially in this last 5 years, except for Mr. Henry Tiffay, nobody else have, sir, I have to accept that. Except for you, nobody else has spoken about it as activists. And I feel, it's very sad how the voices have been reduced in the last 5 years. Because for Sathankulam case, I remember there was a media frenzy. Everybody were running around. Everybody were talking about, yes, it helped the case, right? And they also belong to the Nadar community, which has a social mobility and economic mobility, which helped them. Unfortunately, in the last 5 years, the 26 victims of custodial torture, most of them, as Sir has said, are Dalits, and they do not have such, legal
agency.
Options. True. Have any fancy, do not have any human rights
Yeah.
activists, except for him to come up and speak. And Stalin doesn't, he doesn't even mind. He doesn't even give a press meet on these things. These are global issues. These are international human rights violations. And Stalin doesn't talk, because we are going to
All right.
criticize Modi, we are going to criticize the Indian government, but Stalin doesn't do anything because he enjoys this ecosystem. He uses this ecosystem against the enemies. He uses the ecosystem to kill cases. So this is the system which is being sustained by the political parties.
Right.
So political parties will never have a mind or a will to put an end to torture.
We should put up the tweet by actor turned politician Kamala Hassan. I don't know what to make of it, but it's for the readers. It's like a very kind of typical, I'm against death penalty, I feel very bad for the family, but I do not know. I mean, we should show that, because Shalin was speaking about politicians and about their, what they think of the entire process, as it were. There you have it, Kamala Hassan's long tweet. Henry, sir, I want to come to you. This can be overturned by the other courts, right? This decision which has been taken. My question to you, sir, is this took 6 years, sir. Lapses after lapses, sir. The CCTV footage was destroyed. We all know this. Thank God for those. I mean, I was covering this story, so I know how their veshtis, were wet with blood. I mean, every time I think about it, my hair stands on edge. The torture. Of course, the policewoman who said that she stood witness. 6 more years, it can be overturned, sir. What goes on in those 6 years? I mean, sure, a family can be offered 1.4 crores or whatever it is that they were offered. It's not even the death now. It's just the torture which is nightmarish, Henry, sir.
Well, I think it is time that we move to issues that the court did not have occasion to consider. I wanted to correct what was mentioned in a hurry. This investigation was not handed over to the CBI by the High Court. The High Court actually took suo moto notice of this case. People like us intervened in those proceedings and then assisted the court to the extent we could. It was an investigation that was handed over to the Crime Branch CID of Tamil Nadu. The 10 arrests were undertaken by the CBCID of Tamil Nadu, and I'm saying this only to put records straight. It was the AIDMK government that handed over the investigation to the CBI. And I have no issues with the CBI on the way they went ahead. But what happened was many issues got closed through the investigation once it went to the CBI. For example, you are speaking about the doctor. Dr. Vanilla is the doctor of the Sathankulam government hospital, in whose dustbin those blood-stained dhoti of Jayaraj and Bennix were thrown. And she never made a record of it anywhere. And she was the one who gave a certificate saying that both of them were fit for remand. I mean, this doctor has not been proceeded against, even departmentally, by the government of Tamil Nadu's health department. And that needs to be done. And I want to insist here, it is not only policemen who have to blame for torture. Several cases are there where you have doctors who hand over bodies of people who have died as a result of torture without a post-mortem. I did a case this morning exactly on that. Secondly, the judicial magistrate Saravanan of Sathankulam is to blame because he remanded Jayaraj and Bennix with all the injuries that were hidden on the clothes that they were wearing, without looking into it. Whether it is COVID or not COVID, you are a magistrate. Your job was to ensure that you see whether they have injuries. And if they had injuries, you should have ensured that they were admitted to the Tuticorin Medical College Hospital. Had it been done, so that today I can tell you Jayaraj and Bennix would have been alive, because they were suffering from what is known as rhabdomyolysis. I have not gone public on this because I did not want to topple the trial that was going on. I say it now, I assert it now. Rhabdomyolysis is what results in terms of torture when you hit people in their portions where there are muscles, and the myoglobin comes out, reaches the kidney, and when it reaches the kidney, there is a kidney failure, and the death occurs therefore after 48 hours. And this is exactly what happened in Jayaraj and Bennix's case, and I can narrate other cases. So here was a magistrate who refused to send them to a hospital and send them for judicial remand. Shame. Not that there were no letters. Letters were addressed. I know who addressed the letters. To the Chief Justice of India, to the Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. Total silence, no response, no acknowledgement. Third, the sub jail superintendent of Koilpatti, admitted them in the Koilpatti sub jail. How could he ever do that? People were bleeding, and they had all bleeding injuries. He should have taken them to the government hospital in Koilpatti. That was not done. And fourth is the DSP of Sathankulam, who was on night rounds. He knew exactly what was happening. People were talking to him about what has happened. The DSP, on the principle of command and responsibility and what we understand as human rights, should have been included in this case. Therefore, I want to point out the trial court had material. Don't forget that the judge who gave the judgment is the fifth judge. He comes after several judges who had examined other witnesses. And therefore, it is important to point out, with the materials he had, the judgment, I really had my hats off to the judge for his judgment. I mean, I might have different opinion on the sentencing, but that's a different question altogether. But these people have to be proceeded against. These people will not remain quiet. And the organization that we all belong to, the Joint Action Against Custodial Torture, will ensure that the fight continues. We will fight in the High Court. The sentencing part is different, but we'll continue to fight it wherever we have to fight it. Stand with the victims. I want to assure Madam who's on the show, there was another custodial death of a Dalit, Akash, in Mana Madurai, very close to Tirupuvanam.
Shalin and I have done that story many times. Yes. You know, I have 2 minutes left, Henry sir. That was very impassioned. I just could not stop you. Shalin, I have 2 minutes. Shalin, do you think that he says the fight will go on? But, you know, we are in the time of elections. I'm sorry. I'm sounding like a Cassandra, but nothing is going to change.
Look, I'll tell you something. I was writing about Akash Jalishan's custodial murder from day one, and I've been served a notice to the by the Chennai police, by Tamil Nadu police, to take the tweet down, which says it's just a custodial torture death, that to allege. So that is the kind of impact that they can make, or the police can do on a woman like me. Imagine civil groups, like people who do not know their rights. So especially, I'm telling you, police system reformation is very much necessary in Tamil Nadu. They need psychological analysis. They need psychological interventions. They need a lot of interventions from the minister, the police minister, Stalin, or even if he's going to come again, sit with them. They don't have a union. They are haywire, and they have the khaki, they have the lathi, they go around rampaging. So end of the day, even Akash Jalishan's case, nothing has been done so far, because the same thing, the magistrate. So the doctor, the magistrate, the police, everybody. And then normalizing these deaths. I think the civil society is still not understood the cruelty of it. They are normalizing it. They are glorifying it.